so that we can chat with Garry Tan and search about everything he's ever posted. If you guys want to set something similar up yourself, you can follow our guide on our documentation page and the README of the YouTube Transcribe repository. You should be able to see the URLs for them here and here at docs.arguflow.ai and github.com/arguflow/YouTube-transcribe. We do our best to make this easy for you. Arguflow is an incredibly powerful platform that allows you to build semantic search and retrieval augmented generation use cases for your products fast. If there's a use case for your business or you want to set up an SLA, please feel free to reach out to us. Now let's get into it. So I guess the first thing that you may want to see is the actual chat experience. What is chatting with an AI bot augmented with all of Garry Tan's transcripts like? Well, a relevant question I have, given that one of our first customers, the story platform for people who like to read, is what is the future of reading going to look like? I saw that Garry had a video where he talks about this, and it would be interesting to see how well the AI does with the RAG pipeline to actually share with us what Garry's thoughts were. And, in this case, the thoughts of the person he was interviewing. It takes some time because the bot has to go through that full retrieval step before it begins streaming. But once it does, we can see that we're going to learn about Soul Reader, who was built by one of the founders or partners at Founders Fund. And we're going to get these really nice citations for everything the LLM is coming up with. I'm not going to go ahead and read every paragraph. If you would like, you can always visit gtan-chat.arguflow.ai to access this demo. But I will validate how well these citations are actually doing. If we look at this paragraph here, we can see that the bot is saying, an advantage offered by Soul Reader is its versatility. It allows users to read in various settings without worrying about lighting conditions or other environmental factors that could affect their experience. Whether in these various places, individuals can enjoy uninterrupted reading. If we click Doc 3, I want to evaluate how well this actually seems to be correlated to it. Reading Doc 3, the highlighted portions at least, we can see that it's talking about how one of the best examples is one of our early users. When he put it on for the first time in a fairly avid reader already, he reported back the very next day. I spent 2.5 hours reading. I did not realize how, even this, the minor discomfort of holding the book or being distracted by my phone was cutting short, that my natural desire to read. And I think it's those kinds of stories that we're seeing more and more, where you just read more. If you have these kinds of devices that allow you to eliminate, the noise in your life, what about places? I mean, being able to do it, basically almost any condition, I guess, allows you to read more. And that matches up very well to what the generated paragraph was. One thing that's interesting is we can even go ahead and compare this retrieval augmented output to a chat that doesn't have any augmentation. What we should expect here is that the LLM is going to respond to my prompt with something reasonable, but it's not going to include any details about someone like Garry's thoughts. If you were going to try to deploy a chatbot that could answer a lot of questions on reading, you'd likely want to upload more documents than just Garry Tan's YouTube transcripts. Because, you want a more varied set of opinions during the document retrieval. But we can see here from the normal output that, it's not great. It's not focused, doesn't reference a product, doesn't have any citations. When we look at the retrieval augmented output, I think it's quite obvious that it's much higher quality and the one you would prefer to have in your product or system. However, sometimes you want full control of the RAG pipeline. And one of the ideas that we put forward with Arguflow is frequently it's better to search before you generate. While retrieval augmented generation in a fully managed pipeline is great, it robs the user of the control to write their own search query. Frequently, the search query the model is going to come up with, as we note in this paragraph here from our docs page, is not going to be ideal as something you can come up with yourself. So now we're going to go ahead and demonstrate that. To show how that works, I'm going to go to Arguflow search, and I'm going to make my own query for reading technology. And really in this query, I'm mostly focused on seeing if kind of beyond the product that we were seeing in the chat experience Soul Reader, Garry has talked about developing these immersive experiences and why immersive experiences are valuable. To that end, I'm going to make a search query that's similar. Virtual reality or augmented reality experiences are great because they isolate the user and allow them to focus on only what they are looking for. Let's see, how many of these results are going to end up having to do with Soul Reader. In this case, let's see what the first result is. Maybe this is something different. It turns out it's not. It's still that same Soul Reader video. One thing I haven't talked about is that by clicking these links, you can go to the exact timestamp of the video where this text is from inside the transcript. Okay, so here we're talking about the simulation of what a user is experiencing. Perhaps this is not from the book on reading. Okay, but I don't want to have to read all of these search results to figure out myself which ones have to do with Soma and which ones don't. So for that reason, I'm going to get the LLM to do it. We're going to go ahead and chat with all results. Using the checkboxes on the top left hand of the card, you can change this to chat with only your selected results. You'll see that option here. But in this case, I want all of them. So we're going to click chat with all results. And I want to ask a question like, how many of these documents have to do with Soma? And we are going to see what the LLM responds with. In this case, only 3 of the results, according to the AI, have to do with Soma. I'm curious about this, and we can see that they're talking about the Soul Reader product in Doc 4 with the user who's wearing it for the first time, and Doc 6 where he's talking about how people wish they could read more. One thing I'm curious about is, from the results not relating to Soul Reader or Soma, are they applicable to the idea of a more isolated reading experience? And let's see kind of what the chatbot thinks. Well, it came up with some good results. I mean, obviously we know from the previous that Doc 1, Doc 4, and Doc 6 have to do with Soul Reader. But in this case, it's managing to pull in elements from Doc 7 and 8 that aren't necessarily having to do with Soul Reader itself, but something similar. I'm not going to read every one, but let's take a look at Doc 7. So here we're seeing that, let's see the video this is from first. This is about high-res space imagery. Okay, so the other group is applications that are computer vision based on super sensitive resolution, and the accuracy improves significantly with high-res. So in aerial images, map making like you see on Google Maps, but also HD mapping on autonomous vehicles. Augmented reality become more prevalent on the insurance side, evaluating damage, underwriting, property characterization, measuring. Those applications will get all the benefits now from a satellite, where you have global coverage and higher frequency. That kind of get both the aerial resolution and the benefits of a satellite. We were early investors in cruise automation, which was sort of a hard tech company. That showed that you could make something that was highly pragmatic in the autonomous vehicle space before. How is things relevant? So Docs 7 and 8 touch upon broader business strategies and empathizing with users, but have less direct relevance to an isolated reading experience. Wow, I think the LLM was spot on. If you want to check how it performs on various applications and really flesh out the UI in more detail, you are free to. I strongly recommend checking out the demos and even setting up an instance yourself. It's really easy. You can get going in a matter of hours. Things to explore that I'm not mentioning much in this video is our collections grouping logic. You can make themes, like I could make one for Soul Reader and add these document chunks to the various themes. So I'm going to put a couple of document chunks into the Soul Reader theme group. I already put that one. Let's put this one. Oh, my trackpad abilities are not great today. Then I can go to this theme group, and from the three results, or in this case, two results that I placed, oh no, three results that I placed into the group, I can get recommendations for cards to add. This is incredibly similar to a Spotify-like experience where Spotify suggests songs to add to your playlist. And here you're going to get the results that are relevant to add to this group. If you want, you can search within the specific theme group, and you have the same ability to use GenAI to parse and understand them. One other thing that's interesting is you're able to open these document chunks individually on their own and get recommendations that relate to one document chunk at a time. Maybe you want to use this to make new collections and theme groups. If you are going to use Arguflow in your business in a headless way, the search UI here can still be very helpful to you for optimizing that experience and making it work in the best way possible. In addition to what you're seeing today, we have other features. If you were to self-host Arguflow, you're able to have the ability to upload raw files. And using Apache Tika, we extract the text, chunk it, and put it into the database for you to query. I strongly recommend taking a look at Arguflow and what it's capable of before deciding to build a semantic search or retrieval augmented generation pipeline from scratch. Our expertise has allowed us to build this Docker image first so it can run on-prem. You're able to use custom large language models and embedding models. We prioritize search over generation in that search UI. Our duplicate detection and handling is industry leading. I don't think anyone out there has anything competitive with what we have. It's not even something I demoed here, but if you read this document, you can see how it works for the Enron demo deployment. Thank you guys so much for your time. I hope that you learned something and enjoyed seeing the demo. Have a great rest of your time here.